Shout out Near Falls with D Hall's podcast.
Welcome to Near Falls with D Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. We're talking Near Falls with D Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
All right, joining me now on the call, we have head coach of Burgettstown Area High School, Mr. Joey Vigilati. How are you, sir?
What's up, Donnie? How you doing, man? Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Super pumped up to talk some Burgettstown wrestling as always. So let's just get right into it, man. Break down last year a little bit and bring me into this year's off-season program.
For last year, I mean, obviously the goal is WPIAL title. Obviously the goal is to get to the state tournament. Fell short of that a little bit last year. Still think, ended up fifth there, winning first round. I think the 5 seed we ended up beating the week before the Sharon Duel. So I kind of put us in that 5 spot. So I kind of consider that one spot away from qualifying for that state tournament and making the semis. But yeah, goal remains the same, win a WPIAL title. You always aim high, and if you miss, you take the next best thing. So obviously you want to get to the state tournament as well as a team. So yeah, I mean, off season, we just continue to work, we finish up Hershey. And then we usually just jump right into freestyle. So we don't really take too many breaks. I mean, Fargo hits, we take about, a couple weeks off there just to recover and, right back in the room. So yeah, just same thing we've been doing for the past decade or so. So
love it. Rinse, Ross, and repeat for the Burgettstown boys.
Yeah.
Alumni update. Who's doing things post Burgettstown High School over there?
A lot. I actually had to write them down and really think about it. Rudy
Great
Brown,
problem, Coach.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see. Rudy Brown up there at Penn State Barron, doing pretty well up there. I think he finished last year with like a 22 or 23-4 record. I think his postseason there didn't go the way he wanted to qualify for the national tournament, but I think All-American is in his future too. And then we got JoJo Baronic up at Mercyhurst, starting up there and really getting to understand what college wrestling's all about up there. It's just like starting over as a freshman in high school. You take your lumps and build from it. And but he's going to be okay up there too. We got Joey Senapal, was Lock Haven, recently transferred to West Liberty. Your area's pipeline there from
a little bit.
Bunch of WPIAL boys there, and I think that's a good fit for him. That's where I went to school, that's where I wrestled, and it was nice being close to home whenever you want. Far enough away, but close enough to come home whenever you need to. So I think that's a good spot for him. Parker Senapal, Gavin Suika still at Edinburgh, working on cracking that line up there. DJ Slovics at Pitt Bradford this year. I think, All-American is in his future as well. This year he's been putting in the work. I actually think he's getting close to 100 college wins there. So he's doing really good up there. His brother Dylan joined him last year, but Dylan actually had to step away. He's with the Air Force now, and he actually he does his reserve thing. But I think that from when he told me, he's getting shipped out here in a couple months. I think the Kadar, whatever you want to say, whatever that is called, whatever.
Either way, that's awesome, man. Good for him. That's
so he's going to serve his country, So props to him there. And then we had a couple first-year kids over the past couple of years that really helped us. That we pulled off the football team. Brody Coosier and Teddy Gray last year, the heavyweight. They're actually both at Seton Hill. Brody's playing baseball up there, and Teddy's playing football. So yeah, a lot of kids really continuing at the college level.
Coach, you just mentioned a bunch of former leaders, stalwarts of your program. Give me some guys that you kind of expect to step into that role this year.
To step into the leader role, obviously, Danny Smith was a WPIAL finalist last year. He's a senior. I think I think he needs to set his goals higher. It seemed like he got the regionals, didn't really go his way, but I think his goal this year is Hershey. So he stepped up as a leader. I mean, he's 100 and 30, 40 pounds. He's one of the leaders on the football team too. For a little guy. Him, we got Logan Noyes. Probably one of the toughest stack brackets at WPIAL. I think that the top 6 or 7 guys in his bracket at WPIALs were the top 6, 7 guys at
160.
At regionals, other than the McCourt kid, I think, finished first.
160 was wild last year for you.
Yeah, so and WPIAL loaded. So I think all those guys went from WPIAL straight to regional, qualified for Hershey. So, podium spots in his future too. Adam Beloga, 215, really came a long way over the past couple of years. He's one of the leaders in the room, but we got a really good group of seniors. They all do their job and picking up the underclassmen. We still got Rhea Senapal, Gage Bradley, and who else we got? Carter Cadis came a long way, as a freshman last year. Really understood how everything works at this level, and we're looking for a big season from him too. Brady Wrightweiser up a couple weight classes just to fill the lineup. He's down to a healthy weight now for us this year, but yeah, I think we're going to be okay there. Leaders know what they need to do. So.
Louis back with you?
Yeah, we got Louis back this year, of course. Sonny helping still. Freddie Junko coming along from North A. He was at VMI for a while, stopping in. But yeah, same staff, junior high, Gary Avelka and Bill Brown, Joe Senapal. But yeah, same staff.
Love that. Okay, Coach, talk to me about your schedule. Obviously, that's an interesting question for me because you guys are right there always at the end of the year trying to push to be one of the WPIAL teams represented at the state tournament. But also you guys have individuals that have state championship aspirations. So how do you kind of balance that, and what's your schedule look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously dual meet wrestling is a lot different than individual wrestling where we're weighing kids at and where we're bumping and stuff like that. And the team knows that. The team trusts the coaching staff to do what's right. They know that the first part of the season, it's all team, no matter what, no matter where I put you. And then, postseason is obviously their choice, wherever you want to go. But for the team aspect, it's my choice, where you're wrestling. When it gets into the individual aspect, that's their choice. But yeah, we start off at the Short Tiers Houston tournament. How the sections lined up this year, how they doubled the sections a couple years ago. I don't really like it too much. I think we only have three section dual meets, which I don't really like. I kind of like I liked how they did it before, where they would take the subsections, the 1 and 2, cross them over. That was fun. That was a fun section tournament. It was almost like a warm up for the WPIAL tournament,
yes.
Winning that. But yeah, I liked how they did that one. So a couple dual meets. We hit Sharon duels at the end of the season. We got Southmoreland there over Christmas. But yeah, pretty much same schedule as last year, except North Hills duels, just because we ended up dropping the girls program this year. Just we found it more beneficial for the girls to, it's tough with our staff with a little school to make it to all of these girls events. So we dropped it. They're able to compete in every boys event that we do. And I saved, a couple competition points. So I use boys points for a couple girls tournaments for them with Powerade and Sharpsville. So it benefits us, and I think it benefits them too to get more mat time. And, when we're able to build up our girls program, which there's a lot of junior high girls coming up, a lot of youth girls coming up. So we're looking to maybe reinstate that next year and actually get a coach that can focus on girls. But yeah, not much has changed with the schedule. Pretty much the same.
Coach, give me a guy that, we don't know the name right now, but maybe by the end of March, WPIAL fans are going to know this name.
Let's see. If I had to pick one, I'd say probably our freshman Carter Baker at 107. Really hard worker. Always puts in extra work, 2-3 workouts a day, cross country kid. Go out and run 5 to 7 miles, come right into open mats, and then hit the treadmill and bike right after. But he's a workhorse. Not just that, he's a good kid. He's a good student with very good grades. we always tell them, obviously school's more important than wrestling, always, no matter what. School comes first. He's a great student. And he's just a great kid, great wrestler. I think that he's going to open up some eyes this year too. So, yeah, I'd say Carter Baker in there. I mentioned a few other kids that, most people know the names there, but for an upcoming freshman, I'd say probably Carter Baker there.
Coach, give me some people behind the scenes. I know you guys put on one of the best tournaments of the year. I've had a bunch of coaches actually talk about it, the old Burgettstown wrestling tournament you guys put on there in January, right?
January 9th and 10th this year. Yep.
So just give me some of like the boosters, administrators, people behind the scenes that don't normally get the light shed on them, but let's do that right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that we've grown that tournament into, I think, one of the best tournaments in the area. We have a wait list for that tournament where if a team bails out, we have other teams that plug right in. I think there's between 32 and 34 teams that are there this year. We used to run the 6 match just on Friday night. We're lucky for a small school to have 2 gyms. We have a great setup for a small school,
yes.
Graduating 60 kids a class and having 2 gymnasiums. It's nice, but we actually run those 6 mats both days now. I think coaches like to, get in minimal breaks, get out as quick as possible on Saturday, usually done by 4:00. But, I mean, that wouldn't be possible, without the administration that we have, the school board members that, really put a lot of help into that, and even scheduling, maybe an Act 80 or an in-service day so we can start weigh-ins a little bit earlier. And, they know that that's a big event for our community. A lot of people in the town come up and watch. We're lucky to have the help that we have, the volunteers that we have. There's a lot of people that have been involved with that tournament for, since we started. I think this year's number 45, 45 years for that tournament. We've had people involved for the past 20, 30 years, asking if they can work tables, asking if we need donations. So we're lucky to have the volunteers that we have and the administration and the school board that we have that supports that tournament. The janitors get overlooked too. I mean, you run a program like that. I mean, it's or a tournament like that, you need all the help you can get. So yeah, the janitors put a lot of help into, and, we order our tournament T-shirts, it's from the janitors to the administration. I try to hook everyone up that helps, and so, yeah, we're appreciative of what we have here at Burgettstown.
Very cool, Coach. And I think this is the best way to ask my next question. Talk to me about a glue guy in your squad, someone that, you kind of walk in the squad, everyone seems to kind of gravitate towards, and, someone like that.
I'd say, I mean, if I could pick 2 out of there that would be like the actual main vocal leaders in that room, would probably be Danny Smith and Adam Beloga. I mean, they're the ones that, they see someone dragging, they're kicking them in the ass to get it moving. And, I mean, Logan Noyes, obviously, as a state qualifier, but he's more of a kid that puts his head down, gets to work, not too vocal. And I'm okay with that, but with the vocal ones that kids might look up to or look for help, I would say probably Danny Smith or Adam Beloga. Adam's come a long way the past couple years as a leader in that room, as a leader on the football field. So I would say those 2. Those are ones that I would trust if something came up, that I would, pull them aside and say, take care of it. That's those 2. Yeah.
Okay, Coach, give me the goals and expectations you have for this squad.
Same as I mentioned, man, WPIAL title. That's where you want to go. It's been stepping stones for the past couple years. We ended up winning it, went from just winning a section title, making it to the quarters, winning a section title, making it to the semis, winning the section title. We hit, that period of 4-5 years. I think, we were runner up, third, champions, runner up. It's a good run,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you guys were dogs there for years and years and still are.
Yeah. No. And I mean, the year that we did take third, I think that, Gavin Sweeka ended up breaking his foot the week before.
They remember.
And we ended up losing to Quaker Valley, I think, by a point in the semis, and they ended up beating Burr in the final. So, that's kind of a thing we look back on and like, man, if we could have won 2 there, those couple years. But I mean, you can't complain. You can't control injuries. That's wrestling. But yeah, to have that streak where we were, WPIAL finals, third, WPIAL champs, WPIAL finals, good stuff. And I mean, then another runner-up finish after that, and then last year, obviously didn't make to the semis, but I still consider us as a 5th place team. But yeah, goal's always to win the WPIAL title. If not, next is get to the state tournament no matter what. So
Love that, Coach. Give me social medias. How can we follow the squad this year?
We have I'm on Facebook a little bit with Burgettstown Blue Devil Wrestling. If you search that up there, and then I'm pretty sure the kids take care of the Instagram and the Twitter stuff. I'm not on there too much, but yeah, if you search Burgettstown Wrestling, it'll come up. You'll find us. So.
Coach, anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
Yeah, last year getting into postseason, I think, a lot of people that I'm close with here and with the wrestling community, something Terry Avelka mentioned to me before he retired was that, he met some really great people along the way here, some of the best friends that he's ever met with this sport. My wife had a little bit of complications with her pregnancy with our daughter, going into postseason to the point where she was in the hospital for a month. Thank God everything turned out okay. But when that happened, I told the kids that Louie's going to take charge, Sonny's going to take charge here, Gary's going to take charge. There's going to be days that I won't be able to make it, that I'm going to have to go, straight from work to pick up my son who's turning 3 in a couple of days, and going to Pittsburgh to be with my wife, during that difficult time, and trying to balance that with wrestling. And, I've always said that, people always ask before I had kids, when are you having kids? I said, I get a couple new freshmen, sophomores, and whoever that want to learn this sport every year. I consider those my kids. And, to miss that postseason, that was tough for me. Me and Lou look at those kids as our own. We care about them more as people than wrestlers, like I said before. And to miss that, it was tough, so I stopped in whenever I could. And, even though on the way to the hospital, I was at WPIAL's, and just had to stop in and check on the kids before I got to the hospital. But the support that I got from other teams and the coaches and the messages that I got really makes you realize that, it's bigger than the sport, that there's a lot more important things out there. And, that there was a lot of coaches that reached out and saw me at WPIAL's and came up and asked if everything was okay. And they were praying for us. And, I ran into you, Donnie, too, and saying the same thing there. But it's a tight community, man, of wrestling. And, I talked to, we grew up with the Burl guys, and a lot of respect for them. I always like to bring them up no matter how much people hate Burl and bring it up, man. It's good group of people over there, man. Good group of people. And, we talking to Old Man Shields, Josh's dad, about, it doesn't matter how many fingers we throw each other in a corner or yell at each other and swear at each other. At the end, you're shaking hands, laughing about it, and, going to dinner afterwards, sometimes meeting up at Hershey and meeting up with all those guys. So yeah, shout out to all those coaches and kids and teams that were there supporting us and sending cards and stuff like that when my family was going through a tough time. That was a wake up call for me to really realize how important this wrestling community is. So thanks to all you guys that reached out during that hard time with my family.
Coach, that was awesome. I can't think of any other way to end the podcast than that. Thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you out there, my friend.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Later.